Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here tonight. So this time I would like to present Dr. Preston. He's going to make a speech.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, and President Rata. My name is Preston Oppenheimer, and I am here tonight to support Cambodia and Cambodians in their continued effort to improve their lives. I'm so pleased to be with you tonight on this occasion and very honored to make these introductory remarks. Many in this room have worked a number of years to build the framework for a free and democratic Cambodia. That is the dream that brings us all here. And more importantly, that is the dream for the millions of Cambodians who live in their native country under conditions of poverty, fear, and tyranny. There is among us in this room also an extraordinary young man who works tirelessly on behalf of his country, Mr. Aladdin Tonmis. He inspires all who know him with a willingness to do more, to help more, to feel their passion in whatever drives them. Aladdin is a man who is driven by his love of Cambodia, and his selfless patriotism energizes him to help rebuild his country and restore dignity to his countrymen. So he is also why I am here tonight. Cambodians have exercised their vote on many occasions, only to see insignificant political gains and perhaps no gains at all when seen through a humanitarian perspective. And yet, Cambodians continue to struggle toward the greatest of achievements: freedom, dignity, safety, and to live and raise a family where fear is replaced by a motivation to learn, create, invent, and express. We have watched many election cycles with numerous candidates holding numerous promises, and all with the best of intentions to replace the current regime with messages of hope and inspiration. At the same time, many have raised questions about the integrity of the voting process, its honesty, and its accuracy. Looked at individually, one sees a collection of intelligent, charismatic, and courageous candidates trying to lead the Cambodian people out from the rule of trickery, cynicism, and power. My wife and I like to watch the series Game of Thrones. There is a time in an early episode when one of the characters asks, which is stronger, 5 or 1? Now, many would initially think the correct answer must be 5. In fact, the answer is 1. All forces working together as one can accomplish what 5 separate and splintered factions could never do. Tonight, we will hear from Rata, who seeks to unite the varied populations within the Cambodian family into one voting force, which can finally demonstrate to the world where the real strength of Cambodian hopes and dreams actually dwells. The United States was born out of such a process. And the United States will always be moved by one voice from many hearts, seeking to move their country and their leaders to a new future and in new directions to embrace their God-given liberty. Democracy is a messy business. It is difficult to practice, but it bears the fruit of ingenuity, collaboration, compromise, and meaningful dialogue. It requires putting aside differences in order to achieve a greater purpose. It requires patience and discipline to hear the melody from many different instruments. And it requires the support of those who have courageously walked this path and continue to do so. In a moment, I am very honored to be able to yield the floor to Rata after some other introductory comments. Rata is going to be the conductor of this symphony, and we will hear from him in his efforts to provide the guidance and the help that Cambodia deserves. Rata has an impressive resume and background. Educated with a master's degree in international policy and another master's degree in political science, he has been a student and author of issues of law, justice, and injustice. He is the president of the Khmer People Power Movement, and before this, he was the founder and president of the U.S.-based Cambodian Action Committee for Justice and Equity. The president is a Renaissance man, being an author, a political scientist, and an educator. And like the Renaissance, he seeks to usher in a new and more hopeful age for the Cambodian people. First, please welcome Dr. Karren Ferguson for some additional welcoming remarks.
Thank you, and good afternoon. Good afternoon, President Carthy, and distinguished guests. I am Dr. Karren Ferguson, and I am very honored to be here today to add another voice to your efforts to end the communist regime in Cambodia and to bring peace, hope, and compassion to the people of Cambodia. I was introduced to the Khmer Power Party by Aladdin Tulmius, who is a remarkable young man filled with passion, faith, empathy, earnest dedication, and quiet but persuasive persistence. Like many of you here tonight, Aladdin's story is one of survival. His story is an example of the resilience and determination necessary to be transformed in the midst of horror and persecution into a person who cares and empathizes with the Cambodians who are suffering under the present government. Unfortunately, the world has known many dictators who rose and fell with varying degrees of terror. To name a few, and you recognize the names of Mao Zedong, Adolf Hitler, Leopold II, Joseph Stalin, Kim Il-sung, Ho Chi Minh, and Pol Pot from Cambodia. Although these men are recognized names, they are not ones to respect and follow. The heroes are the thousands of men and women who live and survive, who fight apathy, hopelessness, and emotional deadness, who fight against the personal insults handed to them by the governmental regime, yet rise up against those who intend to humiliate and destroy them. These brave men and women strive to overcome the horrors of their daily lives to make a better life for themselves and for their children and grandchildren. Dr. Viktor Frankl, a World War II survivor of Auschwitz prison camp, states in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, if there is a meaning in life at all, then there must be a meaning in suffering. Suffering is an ineradicable part of life, even as fate and death. Without suffering and death, human life cannot be complete. The way in which a man accepts his fate and all the suffering it entails, the way in which he takes up his cross, gives him ample opportunity, even under the most difficult circumstances, to add a deeper meaning to his life. The Cambodian people and the Khmer People Power Movement have chosen to add meaning to their suffering by uniting their efforts to overthrow those who have chosen to forget the people and to prioritize themselves. This party's purpose states, quote, meet the challenges of discord and fragmentation with an affirmation of the Cambodians' people power. By this we mean pluralism, individuality, freedom of thought, expression and religion, a sense of community, and tolerance and compassion for others. Keep Our People Power Movement will reach out to all Cambodians and affirm that in our society, the individual still matters, but there is reason to believe in the future, not to feel despair of it, and that we must strengthen the common cords that connect us as humans and citizens. This purpose addresses the need for hope, the requisite that each person is vital, and the requirement that thoughts, expressions, and religious values are important to the community as a whole. This vision, born out of suffering, has added meaning to the lives of us in this room. But this dream must not stop here. It must continue to pour out to those who continue to suffer under the present regime. Frankl goes on to say that there are two races, the race of the decent man and the race of the indecent man. President Rata and this party signify the decent man. They have experienced suffering and are using that suffering to build their vision and to reach out and embrace those still in despair. They are choosing to love the country that brought pain, to show compassion to all, to pursue justice, to express mercy, and to live a life full of hope for themselves and for their people. Let us hope and pray that Cambodia can soon experience a change of government, a government that leaves communism behind, and a government where democracy can flourish, a government that brings hope, mercy, and compassion to each Cambodian, and that under the presidency of Mr. Rata, Cambodia will be transformed as a nation, and that the people's suffering will not be in vain. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again. At this time, I would like to introduce Dr. DenGennaro to present the speech. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Kathy DenGennaro. I work with Aladdin. I am so honored to be here tonight. I just want to thank you all for having us. I'm more than happy to be here to support Cambodia and Cambodians in their continued effort to improve their lives. I've been an honored co-worker and friend of Aladdin for almost 2 years now, and prior to knowing him, prior to meeting him, I had very limited knowledge about Cambodia and the Cambodian people. And I'm basically limited to textbooks and history books, which don't really share the story of what it's all about. So prior to meeting him, I knew nothing. But now, he's such a wonderful, caring, giving, loving man that if he's representative of just one or two, Cambodians, I love them all. The suffering of Cambodians has been horrific because of a dictator government and subsequent political parties who promised change but have shown only self-fulfilling goals instead of goals to improve Cambodia and to improve the quality of life for Cambodians. The Karren Ferguson Party and its president, Mr. Rata, aim all their efforts to allow the Cambodian people to have such a voice and free them from the power that is imprisoned and impoverished them and had them live their lives in fear. The overall goals of this movement and the main purpose of us all gathering here tonight include the one mission is that together accept the common mission which everybody has an obligation to be free people and to liberate the dictator government. The one message that together dares to speak out and spread the common language about the catastrophe of the country of Cambodia under power leading of the Family's Tree government. And one multitude that together we will win. The world will never be the same, and Cambodian people have to uprise the power of the people everywhere, countrywide, in one time, in so-called Green Revolution, in order to change the political regime of Cambodia. As the three goals state, it is through togetherness and unification that positive change can come about. Mr. Ratha has the education, experience, love, respect, and dedication to Cambodia and the Cambodian people to be able to guide those people to successful achievement of those goals. He's dedicated and driven through his love for Cambodia. The Cambodian people already know who they want to have elected, and that is Mr. Ratha. Thank you.
Thank you again. Next, I would like to present James. Please come up. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, honored guests. My name is James W. Taylor, and I'm probably the least person that should be up here because I have none of the credentials that the rest of our honored guests have. I'm not a doctor, I'm just a man. But I'm a man who believes that we are all related. I'm here today because my cousin, I don't know if you can hear me, I don't know if all of you can understand me, probably not, but Aladdin is my cousin. The reason why I say Aladdin is my cousin is because you are all my cousins. Why? Because we are all of one race, the human race. I don't know anything about the issues of Cambodia, but I do know about the issues of people. It is the poorest person that votes that brings us up to the top. It's not the wealthy. The wealthy may be able to pay the price for you to go, but it's the poor that brings you up to the forefront. You have the opportunity to stand up for your people and show your people that they are not 25 different provinces. There's one Cambodia. There's one Cambodian people. The best of wishes and the best of luck to you. Thank you.